Question of the day. What is your favorite whimsical game? Now, whimsy is a word that is out of fashion because we don't quite know how to describe it. And I'm not even saying I can do a good job of describing it. Whimsy is playful fun, right? Playful imaginative fun, which is what Vivid Memories is all about. This is a game in which you are taking little shards of color to kind of build a pattern in your board. It reminds me of Sagrada and Azul. Obviously, those are kind of fantastic games already. Feels like it's in that vein, but it has to do with memory and being a child and all that sort of stuff. So let's take a look at what Vivid Memories is, what it does. We'll come back up, talk final thoughts after that. So this is Vivid Memories set up. You'll get a player board. This is the scoring board. It'll actually be shared amongst other players, so it won't be right there, but I'm just showing it on camera. Up there, for a two-player game, you're going to set up 4 of the tiles, 4 shards on each of them. Now, you're also going to get one of these tiles here. This is a kind of a major aspirations tile, or whatever they're called, in which you're going your goal cards here. So you are going to get 1 point at the end of the game for every tile that has a yellow, or every hex that has a yellow, 5 points for every one of these cards that you get. Cards, tokens, I don't know what they're bigger than a token, but whatever. I've called them cards the whole time. So 5 points for every one of the cards you have that scores that color, and then this one is 2 points for every one you have around the edge of the board, plus those will score as well just in the game typically. The other way you can score is on the back of these cards. Now what I love about this, by the way, action side shows a kid what they're doing. So this kid's built a fort at home. Also, it's lifted a couch on top of that seems unsafe, but regardless, we all did things like this. On the back, she's an actual queen. Here you got a kid building a sandcastle, built a real castle with an octopus attacking. This kid, I don't know because from the south, we don't have whatever that is going on, snowing and sledding. He's on a rocket ship. Dude here, bicycle, really on a, let's change the weather too. Flying an airplane here, flying a real airplane. Love that. Anyway, the point is the action side's on the front where the kid is. The points are on back where the super cool art is, where it changes to be realistic. So just know that that's how that works. Now on your turn, you're going to grab 1, 2, or 3 fragments from the ends, which means this end or that end. If it's drained, you can then move into the end here. This would be the new end. Also, if one of these is drained, you would take this and put it onto one of your tiles over here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. These become your actions for the round. So that kid's flying a dragon kite, I bet. Yes, a real dragon. Love it. If you choose 1, it has to be 1, but you can do the rewire action, which we'll talk about in a second. If you choose 2, they have to be 2 of the exact same colors. If you choose 3 tiles or tokens, they have to be 3 different colors. Now that's the way this works, and then they all will go onto a hex. So let's say we took 3 unique colors here. Now you can see on the back of that tile, oh, by the way, totally hate how these fit. It just bothers me. On the back, the scoring is going to need hexes with just blue and purple and red in them. And we don't have that. We're not even close to that. So that's where it gets kind of difficult, is getting those out there to match what you know you're going to have. Now, if you do the rewire action, which means you choose 1 token, you can then kind of Game of Thrones this. You'll understand what I mean in a second. You can either choose a hex and move everything out of it to adjacent ones, or you can choose a hex and move everything from adjacent ones into that hex up until the limit of 3. Now, the way this works is you'll then go into the action phase. What's going to happen is you'll take these basic actions if you have them, but if you have any of these tiles up here, which you'll definitely have some, obviously, because it'd be pretty tough not to, but you'll put them up here covering an action. Now, the actions that are on the board printed are switch or discard 2 to get 1 of your choice. Now, that's into the same hex. Discard 2 from this hex to put 1 in that hex. This is just gain a color of your choice anywhere on the board. This is move to an adjacent one. And this is trade between. So that's what that one is. Now, if you cover these, you don't have those actions anymore, but you have new actions. This is just gain a purple. And some of these are very much like that. Whoops, just throw them all over the place. This is gain a green. This is switch a blue for a yellow and a red. Again, it has to do with that hex that you're working in, unless it's a plus like that. If it's a plus, you just put it on the board. So once you've got that all positioned, you're then going to score. If you can score, you have to score. So if this is our only one, we cannot score this. But let's just say that we had this here instead, and this we had moved because we knew we needed to score it. you'd get 4 points for every instance of that happening. This is blue and green. We have blue and green here. It's 4 points. If you had this same token card, whatever we call this, up here twice, it would score twice. You're then going to score threads. Threads are connected hexes of the same color. So let's just say we have this going on here. Now, this is not a great thread. Let's move it around to make it work better. Here's a thread of 3. So because they are 3 connected pieces with that color in them, we have 1, 2, 3 multiplied by the amount of empty memory tiles on the outside here. So this is 2, so that's 6 points for that one. These could be longer, they just can't backtrack. Then you're going to take this, put it into here, which will score, 1 for having that one. If you have both of those full, it's 4, 1, 18 for having all 3 of those. So it's just a lot of ways to get points. Then you score those. Then you'll score those core memories, which are completed edge clusters. Again, this one is complete because it has 1. This is not complete because it doesn't have 1. And then for round 3, you're going to score your aspiration, which is this card. You'll essentially do this 3 times, 3 rounds. That's it. This will fill up a good bit more, and you'll be doing more of those threads. You'll be doing more of the points based on the scoring. Hopefully you'll have your board manipulated enough to where as more of these come out, you're ready for them, or you can at least get ready for them in your turn. So that's how you play Vivid Memories. Now, first and foremost, when I first started playing this, I was like, this is difficult to get stuff where you need it to go. And then I realized that, yes, it is. This is a difficult game to strategize. And we'll talk about strategy and things later, but it's not too difficult. But there's a player gap. If you are really good at this game, you're going to murder people. If you're first time playing, you're going to get murdered by people who've played it before. We'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, the game looks beautiful. The art, I absolutely love the front and backs of these aspiration cards, or whatever they're called, the cards. Those are so great because the art on the front is the kid doing an actual task. And the art on the back, the scoring side, is the kid in his own or her own imagination doing these wonderful things, being before a king or queen or a dragon or riding a blimp or flying an airplane. Such cool ideas went into that to making the front. If you look at it at a quick glance, you don't even think about them being different. But when you see them and look, you go, oh, that's awesome. That's what the kid's thinking. That to me is just top notch, just really, really cool. Your board looks nice. It looks good. The only gripe I have, and you're probably going to think the same thing, is when you go to put 3 tiles in a thing, you go, why don't they fit better? They fit. They just look weird in there. I feel like I would have rather have had it where it fits exactly 3 tiles or 2 tiles or 1. But again, that's probably me splitting hairs. But end of the day, the art in this game is top notch. Vivid Memories looks incredible. The cards, the little tokens themselves, the memory shards, they all look absolutely great. So knocked it out of the park on the art here. Now let's talk about the game, how it plays. I find this game to be just difficult. And here's what I mean by that. It doesn't mean it's unplayable or anything like that. What I mean is that it's hard sometimes to see the strategy, what you need to do in the first phases to really capitalize in the last, because it's only a 3-round game. Now, if this was a 5-round game, you could be like, well, I'll make it up later. The decisions that you make early can actually pretty hardly affect you later, except for the fact that the actions that you can do allow you to add shards to the board or swap things out, or maybe you just take one and you can just do the rewire, which is nice because you can kind of adjust your board. But if you're not thinking ahead of letting your actions combo to your scoring, you're going to get messed up because you're going to take a tile thinking, oh, I need the shards off of that, but then you can't really use the action and you can't use the scoring, and then you've got a tile clogging up your area that you really can't use. So you've got to think ahead. So again, this isn't so much a critique of the game itself. This is a critique of playing the game. Is you have to be careful when you play this. This is very difficult to do right. And then getting obviously your other memories where you go across in the line and pull the edges off. Making sure that all of these things stack up and really combo well is not the easiest thing in the world, which granted the benefit is a very high scoring game. So you do have a lot of opportunities to make it up. Maybe you don't worry about those, the paths. Maybe you worry about, hey, my color is blue, so I'm going to try to get as many blue cards as I can, so at the end of the game you've just gotten 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever in that. So there are ways to make it up, but again, if you aren't thinking through the strategy when you take a scoring card or which one you score first, where you put it to score or however it works, that can be a little tricky because your action will actually hinder the scoring, or your scoring will hinder the actions that you needed to do by flipping it over. So there's a lot to think about. And why I bring that up is because in Sagrada, the thing you have to think about is placement, right? You want to place and make sure you're hitting it and getting your colors in the right place. In Azul, because I compared it to these earlier, it's a lot less thought in any of the versions of that, other than, I need to put it here and get enough of these so I can put this here. This one is, I have to think about every single decision I make weighted against every other decision I make, so that I know that I'm pulling the right color tiles in the most beneficial way. And that seems like duh, but when you're playing it, it becomes a lot more difficult to get things where you want them to go. Now, maybe I'm totally off base here, but really great game, really pretty game. I don't like it as much as Sagrada. I like Sagrada better, except for the art in this one. The art is absolutely top notch. So this is one that you will enjoy if you like a good brain-burning puzzle, but don't be fooled by the art and thinking you can just walk through this game. It's a little more difficult than that, but fun game, pretty game, definitely a keeper, definitely one that's on the shelf. It's 7 for me on rating, so good game, vivid memories. I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time, we'll see you.